How you guys doing? My name's Ritika, and we are back with another episode of Color Defined. I have the pleasure today of being joined by Anushka Gupta. She is the founder of Aan Charitable Trust and the co-founder of the app Krishi, an app dedicated to helping farmers in India. Hi Anushka, how are you doing today?
Hi, I'm doing well. How are you, Ritika?
I'm good as well, and I know you for some time. I know other people might not know you, so would you like to just give a small introduction about who you are, where you're from?
Okay, so I am Anushka, as Ritika introduced. I am currently going into my fourth year in the Bachelor of International Economics program at UBC. And originally, I'm from India, but I come from a really small town called Kashipur in the state of Uttarakhand. And I spent like the last 4 years of high school in a boarding school. So I've lived independently for a while now. So UBC wasn't much of a shocker for me, but it did give me a lot of space to grow and find who I am.
No,
So,
definitely.
yeah, I think I'm very passionate about just working with communities and using economics to be able to solve global challenges.
Yeah, that was a perfect interview answer. I
Yeah.
feel like I can relate a lot to that because I myself went to hostel like back in India, and so that kind of just prepared me for moving abroad and coming away from home. So I think
Uh-huh.
it's so important for children to kind of not just stay at home the entire time. Like it kind of just preps you up for leaving your country in a way. I feel.
Apart from that, I feel like it gives you that sense of independence to be
Yeah,
able to make your own decisions and actually know
yeah,
what's good for you.
yeah,
Because a lot of times, like, even though parents give us a lot of space to
yeah,
grow, you need to be able to make some decisions
yeah.
yourself, learn from your own mistakes to actually implement those in life and find your path.
Yeah. I know it actually helps you live like an adult, in a way, because like you're doing laundry and everything.
Absolutely.
I mean, I know other people might not agree completely because obviously we're
Mhm.
within a residence and everything, but it's still a lot more than especially South Asian parents. Like we are pampered a lot, like everything's done for
Protected
us.
and pampered.
Yeah, that's exactly the point.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But I know people might be really curious to know what's the Aan Charitable Trust and what's Krishi. So would you like to tell us a bit more about the app and about the foundation that you started?
Yeah. So when I was 16 years old, I had the chance to attend a summer program at Yale NUS.
Yeah,
And that was like one of my first experiences where I got to interact with an international,
yeah,
like on an international stage with people from all over the world. And I actually learned about what social entrepreneurship is.
yeah,
So when I came back to India, I had like a different perspective on everything. And like on my way to boarding school, so we crossed by a lot of villages because I come from a small town and I was going to Delhi, and we came across this entire group of people that I'd never ever even noticed before. They were a group of weavers, and they had huge piles of old clothes just lined up across the road. And I got really curious, and I was like, Mom, Dad, can we stop here for a bit? And once we stopped there, we had those conversations, and we realized that those were the people who recycled old clothes. They literally went house to house, recycled old clothes into rugs. And those rugs were like, they're just multi-purpose rugs that are used across India. And I didn't even know that these people who were
yeah,
saving, so much of cloth waste going into landfills, they're recycling stuff. They they barely make enough to like live decent
yeah,
lives. They didn't have electricity in their houses, they didn't have natural gas connections. And that was pretty surprising to me, like not in a bad way, but it made me realize that I didn't even know how privileged a life I was living, because before that I didn't even notice
yeah,
things like this on the sidelines,
yeah,
you know. And that made me realize that maybe I want to start something that I would be able to work with them and help them. So initially it started as a social entrepreneurship project because Aan means dignity, and it was about helping them find dignity in the work that they do.
yeah,
And so we started marketing their products in the metropolitan cities because they were making about 30 rupees, which is like half a dollar,
yeah.
for each rug that they were selling when they were selling it themselves. But we were able to increase the prices that they were able to get by around 300%, because
Wow.
metropolitan
Yeah,
cities, people are willing to pay for eco-conscious products. So it started from my school. It started from DPS Mathura Road and went across to a lot of the big private schools in Delhi. And that helped them get direct orders from national NGOs and stuff. So that's how Aan really started. But working with those people, I am still in touch with few
Yeah.
of them that I started out
Yeah.
with. And I got really close with the kids. I got really close with the women. And I was lucky that my parents were so supportive of my entire journey. So then we started branching out into multiple programs because we were like, we want to focus on women and children because they were the main workforce, and
Yeah.
we want to be able to do programs for them. So starting from skill development to good touch bad touch, which is to help create awareness about child sexual abuse amongst children. So we started working with government primary schools and collaborated with my state government to be able to run these projects. So that is what Aan is about, because it is about finding dignity for every single person who is striving for a life which is better, striving for a happier life, striving for productivity. And yeah, that is what Aan is about. And I'd say that kind of set me on this path that I want to be a change maker. I want to be able to be in a stream where I'm using my knowledge to make a difference in the world. And I had the opportunity to take part in World's Challenge with two of my friends and teammates, Sumer Das and Riona.
Yeah.
So basically, we participated in the challenge and we had to come up with like basically a solution for a global problem. And that's when we developed Krishi, because Krishi means farmer or
Yeah.
agriculture in Hindi.
Yeah.
Cannot be directly
Yeah.
translated. But yeah, I feel like I'm blabbering a little bit.
Oh, no, no, no. It's amazing. Like I feel like I'm just like really like in awe and like, kind of like speechless when I'm hearing all of these things, because I
Thank
feel
you
like
so
this
much.
is something which is so amazing.
Oh,
Especially, like I feel like so many people, all of us in India, we come across so many issues, but there are very few people who actually take steps to implement on those. So that says
I
a
think
lot
it
about
has
you.
a lot to do with, you know, you're like, this is not my problem at the
Yeah.
moment. And when you're trying to just strive for your own career, you're trying to
Yeah.
make your own life, you sometimes end up forgetting about the things
Yeah.
that you thought about but
Yeah.
never really acted on.
Yeah.
So I think it's just about taking that first step to make
Yeah.
a change.
Yeah.
And as for Krishi, we uh, we basically then decided that we would create a platform which would, help farmers get access to real time prices, because the crops which are non MSP crops, every single market which buys those crops directly from the farmer, they
Yeah.
can have different prices going, and the farmer doesn't really have access to those prices unless they physically go to that location.
True.
So in order to make sure that they're getting the best price possible, they have all the information they need,
Yeah.
we decided that like having access to real time prices by getting the mandi on board, as well as mandi is the market maker.
Yeah.
And apart from that, like getting them access to information about all the crops, because otherwise it's usually
Yeah.
passed down from generation to generation.
Yeah.
So things like fertilizers, things like what crop should they be growing in a certain land size in a certain period of time, like whatever the season is, and like anything and everything that they need to know to make sure that they're having a profitable yield.
Yeah.
So that is basically what Krishi is about. Apart from that, we also want to help them get access to microfinancing groups and stuff. So we don't want to be an active participant, because we want to make
Yeah.
sure that they make their own decisions. So we want to give them a platform where they trust us
Yeah.
and trust the information that we provide to them. So and they continue to hold that agency that it is their decision.
Yeah.
So that is what Krishi is about. And we won the UBC round, so we were very
Woo!
very happy to represent UBC at the international finals, which were held at Western. So we're waiting on our results. So that's what Krishi is about. Yeah.
Perfect. I feel like that was amazing. And I feel like when you pointed to the aspect of agency, I think that's so important, because I myself am
Mhm.
from Punjab originally. And I feel like farmers hold a very like close place to my heart. And I feel like, the issue that was going on, like I feel like it's one thing to, donate to charities that are helping out these farmers, but it's one thing to actually start an app or start something which is actually effectively or actively playing a role in that empowerment in a way. And I
Yeah.
feel like that aspect of agency is very important, because I've spoken to a lot of farmers before, I've worked with them before, and I know like they really value the idea. They don't like being like
Told
not
what to do.
reprimanded necessarily, but being told what to do. They like having the
Exactly.
liberty and the freedom to make their own decision, but being provided with the resources. So
And
I
be provided with the information, because like right now we were discussing it and we were researching a lot of
yeah,
papers. So only about 6% of farmers have access to government provided resources about crops, any kind of knowledge
yeah,
about programs, and that is a very low number given the
yes,
fact that 50% of our population is involved in the
yeah,
agriculture sector.
yeah,
So yeah, we decided to hold conversations with a lot of farmers across India. So we want to make this app in their language. So
yeah,
initially, we're going to start out with a couple languages,
yeah,
start a pilot project in Uttarakhand, because of Aan, I do have like a lot of resources on the field, and
yeah,
we want to make sure this is not just a solution we're making sitting in Canada. We want to be involved. We want the farmers to be involved in this process of making the app.
definitely,
So up until now, it has been about, again, it is about them finding dignity in the work that
yeah,
they do, because dignity is so
yeah,
important. And I feel like that's why I hold both these projects like really close to my heart. And I feel like down the lane couple years, when I'm actually,
yeah,
I have the resources, I have more knowledge, I
yeah.
want to be able to make sure that both of these initiatives reach their peak and are, making much more of a difference compared to what they are now. Of
No,
course, they've grown in the last 5 years, but I want it to grow even more.
yeah, no, definitely. And I'm sure it will. And if you ever need help moving to Punjab side, you can always let me know. Because since I'm originally from there, I have a lot of resources there. So if you ever need help talking to anyone, because a lot of my family belongs to the farming sector and like they have evolved from there. So, like
Exactly.
we just
Even my
enjoy.
grandfather's a farmer, like even right
Okay.
now. Yeah,
Yeah, mine too. Mine too. Yeah. So he just likes being connected to that. And like just meeting any farmer, you can just know like they value so much the way that they live their lives. And like, the way that they talk about farming also, I feel is very important to them. So I feel like if we play an important role in helping them have that dignity towards it, and maintaining that profession for the great thing that it is, because I
Mhm.
feel it's underestimated at times, like the
And a
farmers
lot of
and
the
their
youth is
profession.
leaving the farming sector.
Yes, yeah. And
The
which is sad.
generational farming sector,
Yeah,
like people who've had the land, who've been
yeah,
in agriculture for
yeah,
years, they're leaving. But other people like are getting into agriculture as well.
yeah,
Like some people get educated and they come
yeah,
back to farming because they're like, there are so many opportunities, be it with organic
yeah,
farming, be
yeah,
it with like multi-level or like natural growth, which is like
yeah.
multi-cropping. So a lot of things people are coming back to it, but a lot of
Yeah.
people are also
Also
leaving their
leaving.
roots.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like I think a good mix of both, but hopefully it heads in the direction of people joining it back.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I feel like another thing that really stood out to me that you mentioned is for the Aan Charitable Trust, you mentioned the aspect of privilege and like, this idea of when you come across certain situations. I think like that's very important to like,
Mhm.
I think it's just important that it kind of just goes to show that how aware you should be of your surroundings. Like, when you come across any situation, it's so important to just reflect upon things and kind of like come to realizations, because I feel like those realizations are what kind of set the path for such unique and like different adventures. Like in your case,
Exactly.
that one incident propelled and like became this huge organization, and it's so amazing, because like what was happening at such a small scale level, hopefully through your help it might be happening at a bigger level, and
Exactly.
providing
And
employment
I
to
think
more people.
one thing that we
Yeah,
tried to do with ARN was also that it was an organization run by kids. I'm not
yeah,
even kidding. So even though my parents were really supportive and they were like, my mom helped me out a lot with the backhand work. And right now also, like if Ann is continuing on the field in India, it is solely because of my mother. Because
yeah,
after I left and came to Canada, she was like, it's now my mission to make sure
oh,
Ann reaches its heights, because that was her new baby now.
yeah,
And we though tried to make sure that most of our events were being conducted by kids, because it's
okay,
easier to create that
yeah,
bond between children and children.
yes,
And it was also giving like private school kids a different
An
perspective
opportunity.
onto life, and it was giving the government school kids a different perspective on life as well,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
they wanted to be where we
yeah.
are, and
Mhm.
because of that they started looking up to us, and we looked up to them because they found strength in so many of the little things.
Yes,
And that entire conversation,
yes,
that relationship that was built, it has lasted us years. It
yes,
has made an impression
yeah.
on our minds that has made us a lot more empathetic, that has made us a lot more thoughtful about how we want to progress in life.
Yes, yeah, no,
Yeah.
definitely. And I feel like like that's one of the most integral factors of an organization, that you have
Mhm.
those strong relationships, not
Mhm.
only with the people you're working with, but also the people who you're working for. And I feel like
Exactly.
in your case, in both organizations, the fact that you're communicating with them on a one-on-one
Mhm.
level, and that you have your mother back in India who's actually like physically
Uh-huh.
communicating with them in a way, obviously with social distancing measures, but like like that plays a very important role. And that's why I
Mhm.
think like your organization has a lot of scope for growth and improvement. And I think it's an amazing initiative, to be
Yeah.
honest. Yeah.
It's really nice because right now we have Vellum Boys School on
Yes.
board. My younger brother goes to Vellum Boys and he is in his 12th grade now. So
Yeah. Oh
he
shit.
has more
In India,
initiatives.
12 is a bit daunting age.
Yeah, but I am very proud of him because, like,
Yeah.
since grade seven, that's when I started
Yeah.
on. He
Yeah.
has been involved with me on the field. Like, he
Wow.
has come with me for all the good touch, bad touch campaigns. He came
Yeah.
with me for all the skill development workshops we did. And during the pandemic, he was one of the head starters, along with my mom and me, to conduct menstrual hygiene campaigns in
Wow.
schools. Because what happened was, most of these government schools was where girls had access to pads,
Yeah.
and that supply stopped when schools shut down.
Yes.
So we decided that we didn't want that to stop, so we started going back to schools. We conducted a huge fundraiser.
Yeah.
A lot of my friends and family from Canada also contributed to make sure that we're able to collect enough funds, and we've distributed about I think 1,500 to 2,000 dignity kits, and each
Wow.
dignity kit has like biodegradable sanitary napkins, which are made by the government, and they're available for like 1/50th of a cent. So
Wow.
it's very affordable, that in case they want to go back to those pads later on, they can. Then we provide them with like soap, we provide them with detergent and sanitizers. So all of these things just to make sure that they're
Yeah.
able to live a healthier life, along with vitamin B and iron, because all those things are really important for a girl in the when
Yes.
they're in adolescence.
Yeah.
So
No, definitely.
that was one of our most recent initiatives that we're continuing during the pandemic.
Yeah. No, I feel like that's amazing. And I feel like, I don't know, when you were mentioning about this, my mind just went to like, there's another organization called Free Periods, like in
Mhm.
Canada itself. And
Mhm.
like, like, hopefully I get to work with them. But, but like, the amazing thing about that, like, what I realized through looking up that organization and getting to know about the work that they do is like, the same problem exists in most countries, but it's just to
Mhm.
different extremities. Like, you
Exactly.
wouldn't expect, like, in a developed country like Canada, there could be a problem relating to like inaccessibility to proper like menstrual applications
Care.
and like other things, but there still exists. And like me and my friends, like we just kind of like helping out the homeless people on Sunday, so we might just go like with female kits and everything just to kind of like help out. But we did not know it was actually a problem until we kind of looked it up one day. We were like, let's just check, because we thought it was just like an extra added thing. But like after I realized, it's like I don't know, it's just really weird how like countries are so different, but at the end of the day they're kind of facing the same issues.
Mhm. Social structure is a very complex thing, you know.
Yeah.
Like I did not know a lot of issues existed in Canada before
Yeah.
I actually came here and started reading about the history of Canada,
Yeah.
and figuring out what social issues and barriers have
Yeah.
been in place and continue to be in place for a lot of communities.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
definitely. And now, since we have gotten to know a lot more about the organization, which was amazing, I think let's get into. I think you already hinted at it, like when you mentioned family, your brother and your mother being involved. Like my next question was like, what are certain important factors do you think that helped you like, do what you are able to do today, whether it be opening up these organizations, running them currently, or whether it be coming to Canada. And like, I know, like, back in India there are still some people who live in the ideology of, like, girls should not be educated, or maybe especially when it comes to sending them abroad, it becomes a huge thing of, like, where usually they'll be like, send the guys, like, makes more sense than sending the girls
Yeah.
abroad. So kind of like, what do you think played like important driving factors in helping you be where you are today, maybe in a way?
I think one of the things that I will say motivated me and shaped me into being who I am today is, first of all, my mom.
Yeah.
She is such an intelligent, beautiful,
Yeah.
amazing, driven woman. I can't even tell you.
Yeah.
And her personality made me driven. It made me
Yes.
passionate and
Yes.
everything. But because of the fact that she wasn't allowed
Yes.
back in
Yeah.
her day
Yeah.
to achieve all of the things that she could
Yeah.
have potentially achieved, she wanted to make sure I had all those opportunities.
Yeah.
And my dad is a feminist. I love my dad. And
Yeah.
he has supported me in every single thing. Like, he supported me and my mom in every single thing we wanted to do.
Yeah.
And like, even going to boarding school was such a big question, because I went to Delhi,
Yeah.
and the first thing the entire small town of
Yeah.
Kashipur told my parents was, you shouldn't send her to Delhi, she'll get into drugs, she'll get into
Oh,
boys.
oh my
Just
God.
that entire
That's
perception
the
that if
cliche.
they send me even outside my city, it is
Yeah.
going to spoil me. They should have sent me to an all
Oh
girls boarding school instead of a co-ed boarding school.
my God.
So I feel like these things will always remain to hold people back, but it's about you taking that first step to make sure that change happens. And I
Yeah.
was lucky enough to have the backing of my family
Yeah.
for that change to happen. my
Mm.
my grandparents are kind of progressive. So my parents were way more progressive, and because of
Yeah.
that I have had the exposure to the world, that I know for a fact that coming down in the generations, I am going to allow them to be whatever they want them to be. Like,
Yeah.
it's not even like the question of allowing. Actually, it is like, it is their choice, it is my choice what I want to do with my life.
Yes.
And yeah, I feel like that has been one of the biggest factors that led me to where I am today. I believed in myself because my family believed in me.
Yeah. No, I feel like I really resonate with that answer, because I feel like, for other people, I feel like this is, I don't know, like, I feel like for everyone, obviously, family does play an important role, but I don't feel, I feel like there's this cultural difference that I notice, especially like when you're coming from South Asia. I feel like, I don't know, family does play an incredibly a lot higher percentage of a role,
Mhm.
in what you end up doing in life. And like, especially when it comes down to mothers, oh my God, like, I feel like for everyone, their mother is the best in the world. For me, my mom is the most beautiful woman I've ever found. And like, it's just so incredible the support that they provide us with. Because even with my mother, it was not like she was, luckily in her case, she was not denied of anything. But like, once she got kids, she kind of had to take a back seat in a way, make that choice. So she just kind of preps me up for that so that I never have to make that choice between pursuing what I love and kind of taking that backseat, because she tells me you can multitask. So I think she's been prepping me for that since so young, that you can do multiple things at a time. You're a woman. You're freaking strong and amazing.
Yeah.
She has made that synonymous for me with the word woman. And I
And
think
I
that
feel
is
like
just,
one more thing I've realized, like,
yeah.
growing up in my family, having a very supportive partner is
Yes.
necessary. Like,
Yes.
I know for sure, like, when I'm looking for a partner,
Yeah.
they need to take half the share of responsibilities.
Yes.
Of course, it does not need to be like 50% all the time. It
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
fluctuate, but at the same time, it is not just a woman's responsibility to, take care of the house or
Yeah.
take care of the kids or make sure like her career is going. Like,
Yes. Yeah.
it is both the people in a household who
Yeah.
start a household, it's their responsibility to make sure everything is functioning
Yeah.
smoothly,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I think this is a lesson I've learned from my family. Like, it
Yeah.
is, you're not supposed to shut a woman down, you're
Yeah.
supposed to let her grow, because
Support her.
that
Yeah.
is how the society will grow, you know.
I think one thing my mom says, and like, there's this popular phrase that people use. There's always a woman behind behind every successful man. There's a woman. My mom says no, that's wrong. She's like, with every successful man, there's a successful woman. You know,
That's so
Instead of
beautiful.
saying behind, it's like you're with them together and achieving that success together. Why not put them on an equal pedestal? And I feel, yeah,
Exactly.
that's ideology. I think like every woman in South Asia should, be made aware that, like it's not about you being behind that person and supporting them, it's about you also being supported in return. So I think, yeah, that's amazing.
I
I,
generally think I'm gonna steal that line from your mom. It is beautiful and I'm gonna quote it all the time.
no, yeah, definitely go ahead. I
Yeah.
feel like I try and put it everywhere I can because it's just so empowering the way you say it.
Hmm.
And I feel like another thing is, wait, yeah, another thing I was, since we were talking about parents and everything, like, I was just wondering, is there anything your parents told you, like, not necessarily like the prep talk before you're going to university, but like any major takeaways that you have had from it? Because like I know, like once you come to Canada, although you're always talking to them, there's still that divide, and you still feel like maybe you're kind of like following those certain, I don't know, like things that they might have taught you, or the values that they taught you, or like what might be like, let's say, two or three most important things that your parents told you to always keep in mind, no matter where you
I
are or
think
where you go.
I think there are two takeaways. Like I don't think they've
Yeah.
explicitly told me this, but
Yes.
just from their personalities, the
Yes.
two takeaways I try to follow. Like from my dad, it is always honesty and
Yes.
kindness. And
Yes.
from my mom, it is always strength and passion.
Yes. Yeah.
Like those are the four things I try to imbibe in me. I want to be honest in the work that I'm doing. I want to be kind and loving to everybody I meet, and at the same time I'm passionate about
Yeah.
whatever I decide to pursue. There is no point doing something which
Yes.
you're like half-heartedly doing, because I know the outcome isn't going to be great if I'm not giving it my 100%,
Yeah.
and it is about being strong. It is
Yeah.
about being strong when you're feeling weak. It is about being, and even feeling weak is strength, because you have to show that vulnerability. So yeah, I'd say these are the four things that no matter what, or no matter where I go in life, I will keep strongly in my heart from my parents.
Definitely. And I feel like kindness, especially, I think is very important because, like, like again, my mom always tells me, like, like, I think this is a very popular phrase somewhere else, also, I've heard of it, that, if you're given the option of choosing between what's right and like being right and being kind, always choose being kind because, you can also be right through being kind, many a times, but
Yeah,
sometimes being right only can involve being rude also to some people. So that's not always the best option.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
And
feel
then,
like the
yeah.
world is already so rude to everybody. Why become a part of that rudeness?
Yeah.
Because
Why
you
be
can make
that
someone's
another
day.
percent?
Yeah.
Yeah. And like in terms of like what you're doing today, like kind of want to take ourselves, like, take a seat back and go into kind of that reflection phase. So like I'm just kind of wondering like what you're doing now. Obviously the work is incredible, but like if you were to go back in time, is there anything about it you would change? Or is there anything you would not do? Like not necessarily in terms of the organizations you started. Maybe certain stereotypes that you might have faced, or maybe you succumbed to some of those stereotypes before, when you were
I
young.
did. It is really funny though, but I would possibly say that particular stereotype was also what led me here. So,
Yes.
like, up until grade 10, I did not really enjoy the art subjects, because in India, when you're
Yeah.
doing history,
Yeah.
geography, economics, it's more about rote learning than
Yes.
actually learning and
Yes.
experiencing those
Yes.
subjects. So I used to literally cry because I had to like write down answers my teacher had told me like
Yeah.
10 times to memorize them, because I really suck at memorizing things. Like, I want to be able to write it in my own
Yeah.
language. Why
Yeah.
are you restricting me to certain
Yeah.
words?
Yeah.
You know? So, so because of that, I also had a decent
Yeah.
flair at the sciences. So
Yeah.
everyone told me I should take the sciences in grade 11 and 12, because that's when
Yeah.
we choose our subjects. And they were like, you'll be good, you'll have the opportunity to do engineering, and after you do engineering, the world is your platter, you can do
Yeah.
whatever you want.
Yeah.
So I ended up succumbing to that.
Yeah.
I took physics, chemistry, math, and I also enjoyed economics a lot. So I
Yeah.
took economics on the side instead of taking computer science. So that though made me realize that maybe
Yeah.
even though I'm good at it and I'm getting the marks, I'm scoring decent grades, it isn't something I'm passionate about innately, because I know that if I do engineering, I'm going to be an average engineer. I wouldn't be someone who stands out. But
Yeah.
if I pursue economics and if I pursue the field of development, I am going to be the person who makes a change.
Yeah.
So I think in grade 12, when university applications were just starting up, I like outright went and told my parents, I don't think I want to be studying engineering. I want to apply for economics. Give me a chance.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay, apply to a few universities. So I literally applied to 5 universities for economics abroad.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I was going to be studying engineering in India. And I got lucky that I got selected into BIE, which is one of the best economics programs in the world. And
Wow.
the acceptance rate is like really low. Like, I feel like all BIE students, rave about how cool it is that it's like a 3% acceptance rate, because
Oh my
kind
God.
of amazing that you're part of those
Yeah,
students
it
who are
is.
so
It's
smart, so
exceptional.
driven, and they want to make a change. So I'm
Yeah.
sorry, this was just a little bit of a brag about BIE, but BIE people are amazing. So
No, and I
yeah,
think it's exceptional. And I feel like,
yeah,
yeah, damn, 3%. I'm
yeah.
kind of
It's
just
like
reflecting on that number in my
three
mind.
point some percent. I don't remember the exact value, but
Okay,
in
okay.
my cohort. So it was amazing because I got into BIE, and like it was a tough decision for me to make because coming abroad is expensive.
Yeah.
But touchwood, because of the work that I'd been doing, I also had a financial need because I did recognize my privilege, but at
Yeah.
the same time, to make sure that me and my brother had the best possible
Yeah.
uh, education, my parents spent all of their savings,
Wow.
for my brother right now and for me back when I was in high school. So when we were in boarding school, they just wanted to make sure we had the best possible experiences to
Yeah.
make sure that the world is our platter. So after that, it was all up to me. So
Yeah.
I applied for a couple financial aid scholarships, and
Yeah.
I was lucky that UBC chose me as a person who deserved it.
Yeah.
So it has been I feel like that has driven me more to make sure that
Yeah.
I'm actually making the best of the opportunity that's been given to me, to make sure that I am one of those wheels making the change in
Yeah.
life.
I feel
So
like I've asked so many people this question, and from so many people, they have replied only one thing. They will definitely mention that there might be certain instances where, they might have succumbed to like certain stereotypes, or
mm,
something bad might have happened to them. But again, they feel like it's good that it existed. They wouldn't like to remove it or change it in any way, because that is what makes them who they are today. So that
I
one is
wouldn't
so,
have
so
realized
important.
that economics is for me if I didn't go into the sciences.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like I feel like sometimes it's so important to just trust in the process and just know that everything will eventually work out, but we just kind of need to like just believe, just trust in a way.
I always believe like everything happens for a reason.
For a
It's such a
reason.
cliched
Yeah,
line, but
yeah,
if there is a job opportunity you didn't get, it's because something better is lined up.
yes,
And
yeah,
if like
yeah,
I like my friends say I'm a little bit crazy about this, but I am one of the most overly optimistic people you will ever meet in your life because I'm always trying to find that silver line.
yes,
Because even when I'm feeling low, I'm like, it's probably for a reason. I
yeah,
wouldn't
yeah.
know what happiness is if I don't know what sadness is.
No, I agree, because like I feel like everything I have to say, my mom only told me. But like it's so true, because I mean I'm her daughter. But like, she always tells me, like even my dad, actually I should give him credit too. He'll be angry. But like even my dad, like he always tells me, like whatever you go through sets the stage for who you are, and so it's very important to always be proud of those stages, whether they be good or bad. And like this idea, like I know, like even I tell my friends, I know it's very cliche, but whatever happens happens for your good. And I feel like sometimes trusting in that actually works out for your better, like in the
Mhm.
middle,
it,
like
it works for your mental health, to be very.
yes, yeah. I know some people, like in psychology, when I took psychology class, my professor was like, it's just a way to cope with your sadness. I was like, I don't care about that. But all I know is it just makes me feel good. And like, I don't know, it just makes you happy, because you like in life there's something better. And actually, that does end up being something a lot better.
And honestly speaking, like if you look at, I know the success stories that you read about in all the books, they're like few in a million cases.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you hold that optimism that they were in a bad place at
Yeah.
one point of
Yeah.
time in their life, and they if they didn't give up,
Yeah.
that's the reason why they're successful. And I feel like 10 years down the lane, when I'm looking back to when I was in university struggling over one economics course that I took, and I was like, I don't understand anything, it's going over my head. Did I
Yeah.
make the right decision by coming to BIE? And you're questioning every single
Yeah.
choice you've made in life. Like, I would be laughing about it in
Yeah.
the next 10 years. And I feel like, I don't know where I read this or if someone told me this, but if if something doesn't matter 5 years down the lane, it is not worth worrying about.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah.
Like if like you're worried about like what are you gonna have for dinner tonight, and it's literally driving you crazy because you don't have anything in your fridge. Like, I'm just making a stupid
Yeah.
example up, but that isn't gonna matter 5 years down the lane. So there's
Yeah.
no point worrying about it. That test score, it is not going to matter 5 years down the lane. So yeah.
I agree. I feel like we tend to obsess a lot with numbers. Whether it be like in the report card, especially like South Asians.
Oh,
Like that,
brown people care about
yes,
marks
that's
a lot.
a lot.
That's
Like,
literally how the race in India works, though.
yeah.
To
And
be very
I
honest.
feel like even when the kid is not born, or maybe after the kid is born, they already start preparing you for 12th grade board exams. They're like, you have
Not
to
even
get
12th grade board exams. You start preparing for either the NEET exam to become a doctor, or
yeah,
you prepare for the IIT exams, which is the JEE. That's the two things Indians are born to
yeah,
do.
yeah, yeah. I agree. Shit.
No, or otherwise you have to give the government exams to become an IAS officer. Those are the three career lines.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
it.
I agree. I agree.
Which is so sad. And
Yeah.
I'm just happy that I got the opportunity to be here, because
True.
it's
I feel
helped
like
me
we all
grow.
just need to be really grateful for what we got, and
Yeah.
like maybe just in a way kind of like make other people also like I think like by coming here, my like I feel like we kind of become those role models to those other like people like ourselves, like our age, like who are back in India, and kind of just showing that showing other parents also that whether it be a girl or whether it be a boy, when they're coming to Canada, like my mom tells me, like make full use of that opportunity and show to people back in India, prove, not necessarily prove them wrong, but just show to them that girls have also got what you think they're missing. They are worth everything. And yeah, and I
I
feel
honestly think, like, in this scenario also, there's always going to be people who are gonna
yes,
find out that one
yes,
flaw. Like,
yeah,
like if you've gotten like 99 out of 100, they'll pick that one mark
one,
you lost, and
yes,
they're gonna
yes,
be like,
yeah,
this person did this wrong.
yeah.
And I feel like it's sometimes it's also about being the bigger person and just ignoring those people, because they're probably not good for you.
And no, and I feel obviously you cannot obsess
Yeah.
yourself with proving someone wrong, because that person is
Yeah.
going to find the smallest little thing to put you down. So in life, it's more the most important is you just see what impact you're having on the world. And what I can see from you is you're having a great impact. And that just goes to show you're doing an amazing work. And so you should not give a shit about what anyone else says, you know?
Yeah.
And now I just realized we have, wow, our conversation has gone over a lot of time. I just realized, I was like, oh, Anushka, we'll keep it just to 10 minutes.
I
But
tried, okay, but I feel like we were having such an
yeah,
amazing
no,
conversation
same.
that I
I
just
saw it
didn't
too,
want
and I was
to.
like, it's fine. Let's just keep it going. I'll just post it in segments. And like one last thing before we end, like any not advice necessarily, but any one thing that you have learned you would like to tell other people or like other women also in like a way that you feel empowered you to be who you are and like be where you are today.
I think there are two things I would say which are very important to succeed in life and to be wherever you want to be. Um, First thing being communication. Like, I think people really underestimate the power of communication. Like, I am a person who says everything that is in my heart, be it anger, be it happiness, because creating that confusion and thinking like, what is this person thinking
Yeah,
behind, like I don't want to be putting that effort into thinking, is Ritika judging me right now, are people on LinkedIn judging me right now? i
yeah,
i want to assume the best of people, and at the same time I want to be who I truly am in front of you. Like, I don't want any hidden secrets. You're talking to me right now, and that's literally who I am.
yeah,
And having that communication, be it with your friends, have those expectations set with your family, with the people you hold close to your heart, like, that is really important, just communicating with people. And the second thing being perseverance. Like, a lot of times we end up starting a billion things and we go through with one of them. It's all right if we go through with one of them, because if that one thing is what you're passionate about and you really want to work towards it, then go persevere it,
Yeah.
like it's easy to give up, but it is difficult to go through something, and that is what is going to make you succeed. Like back in 11th grade when I was starting on, literally so many people told me you cannot do it, because they were like, you're an 11th grader, you're in boarding school, what the hell are you going to do? And I was like, I'm going to make it happen. You
Yeah.
guys just have to trust me. And literally, out of an entire batch of like 500 people, I spoke to so many of them. Four people stood behind me, and those four people are few of my closest friends right now. Like,
Wow.
even if we don't talk every day, we are
Yeah.
still in touch with each
Yeah.
other. That whenever I pick up the phone and I call them, they're right there,
All
and
the
they're
same. Yeah.
part of Aan as much as I am.
Yes. Yeah.
So I feel like having those relationships set and persevering through whatever you set your mind to is really important to be where you want to be.
Yeah. And I think what I actually take away from what all you said right now is like, don't give a shit what other people say. Because if you know what you're doing and if you know who you are and you know the potential, you can achieve everything.
I
And I
would say like you have to give a little bit of a shit, like if those people actually care about you, and like you're like saying that I can, walk across the ocean, but you literally can't. You should listen to logic, but
yes.
at the same time,
Yeah.
like do what you think is right
Yeah.
when it's logical.
Yeah. No, listen to people to the extent where it's not disturbing your train of thought, I would say.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the second thing you mentioned was about perseverance, and I think that is so important because so many times, like even I've done it myself, we plan so many things, but
Hmm.
getting it through the end is what is most difficult. And I think at the end of the day, it's very important to also realize everything is done step by step. You know, I know
Exactly.
so many people might be watching this, and like, to whoever watches it, like whether it be a 10th grade or ninth grader, like you should know that not just because Anushka started in 11th grade doesn't mean you have to start with 10. If you start
Exactly.
later
And
also, that's okay. If you start earlier also, that's okay. But it's
yeah.
just like one small step at a time which adds up together to make that
Mhm.
whole thing.
And like I think one more thing I'd like to say is like not everybody's path is the
Yes.
same.
Yeah.
And like you probably are listening, like people are listening to me
Yeah.
right now and they're like, oh my god, she's done such amazing things.
Yeah.
Like they
Yeah.
see only the success, but it's very difficult to see that in this success there have been nights where I've literally sobbed to my parents that
Yeah.
things are not working out. I've sobbed to my friends like,
Yeah.
oh my god, I'm overworked, I don't know what to do, I don't think I'm taking care of
Yeah.
myself. Like there are so many things behind a person, the struggles behind the success that are not really visible to
Yeah.
the naked eye. People see the success when people
Yeah.
go over each other's LinkedIns.
Yes.
We see
Yeah.
all of the amazing
Yeah.
positions we've done, all
Yeah.
the amazing work that we've done, but behind each of that thing is also like 100 failures.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's important to recognize if you're on the stage of failure right now, it doesn't mean you're not going to be at the stage of success. Like in an economics perspective, it's a boom and bust cycle always.
No, and I feel that's so important to know that, like that's for social media in general. What you see is not what actually happens. And like just because you're seeing this person having such big, we just see the success ladder go from here to here. We don't see it's actually a very zigzag line. It's not a straight line that goes straight high. You know, so just being aware of that, and that the fact, again reiterating that everyone has their own unique path, because I feel like we get caught up in the idea, okay, they're doing so many things. Like I feel I myself used to get caught up in that, but now I'm like, I'm gonna do what I'm gonna go with the flow. What opportunities come to me are meant for me, what don't come are not meant for me, and just doing what I feel like doing. If I like giving back to the community, I'm gonna do that. It's not always getting a job and earning the money. It can also be sometimes about just giving back and making someone smile. So the
I
small
think at the
things
end
matter.
of the day, it's about being happy, and
Yes,
I like like
whatever brings you happiness.
exactly. And
Yeah.
a lot of people, like I would say, even people who are like much older than us, I would say even like my parents' generation, everybody like realizes this at certain
Yeah.
points in their life.
Yeah.
And I feel like because of my parents' struggle and everything that I've seen, I kind of realized it early.
Yeah.
Like money is an aspect of things.
Yeah.
Like, of course,
Yeah.
if you want to make a change in the world, you need money.
You need
But at
money.
the same time, if you're not happy
Yeah.
in that process, there is no point of it.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So
And thank you so much.
finding happiness even in the little things is so important.
Yeah, yeah. And on that note, on that amazing note, I think we should hopefully people are going to be like kind of shocked with, oh damn, this is a 1 hour interview. But yeah,
Yeah.
thank you so much for being here today, Anushka. I think that was amazing. That was really insightful. Keep doing the great work you're doing. And obviously, like when I do post this, like in the comments, let us know in how like ways that other people can also get involved with this, if there's any way. Because I know
Yes,
a lot of people
absolutely.
have asked me about previous organizations too. So if there is any way that people can get involved, any link you have,
Mhm.
send it through and I'll just make sure to have it there. And thank you so
Absolutely.
much for being here today. I know I took up a lot of your time from 10 minutes
No,
to
it was an absolutely amazing conversation. Like I would listen to a conversation of you with other people, and I have, and
yeah,
it's so nice to like hear experiences of other people from different
yes,
backgrounds
yes.
and learn from their journey.
But you should know you're an inspiration and it's
Thank you
amazing what
so
you're
much.
doing. But again, we recognize your like the
Struggles.
you've gone through. Yeah. So
Yeah.
just know that. And yeah, thank you so much.
Okay, I hope you have a nice rest of your day.
Yeah, same.
Bye.
Bye.